Working on the Corvette today. All right, we have a twofold mission here. We're gonna change out this leaf spring for a little bit shorter one over there because we already hacked away at this one. There just isn't enough clearance on this new 7-inch rim. So there's a hole location here for this bushing. So the new spring, that's moved inboard 1 inch on the new spring over here. So this spring is essentially, the main leaf is 1 inch shorter each side.
And where'd you get that thing made?
That was St. Louis spring. Real quick turnover and not very expensive. See how it works out. Since we're relieving tension, we're gonna try to get this cross member out and change both of these bushings out while we're up in there. And then that should locate the rear end right in the center, which locates the spring. I don't recommend anyone else do this, but we got a jack in the front of the car, keeping the front stable. We got rubber on this stanchion. We got enough tension on if we could move this. So we're just gonna take the nut off and let it down.
Then just relax that. Hopefully it doesn't kick out.
It's kind of a dangerous job here. So
Oh yeah.
anything you do is at your own risk.
Especially when you got your hand in between.
Might spring once it gets past the bolt.
Right, that's what I was worried about. Hopefully it was very uneventful.
Quite a bit of difference in free length arch, but we'll install it and see what we got. We got it lined up as good as we can, and you can definitely see the top one's shorter. The request was to have the hole moved 1 inch inward. Something else to be aware of is the spring pack depth. And this pack is the same depth as this pack because 2 of these bolts go into blind holes on this differential in the back here. If you want to have a bolt that wouldn't go tight, you have to have the perfect length bolt there. Might have been easier in this casting had we had tension on this when we released them 4 bolts. Something to think about. I'm gonna find something to support this, and I think I'll zip off these 2 to see how far it drops down. Here's there's 4 bolts coming down from the top into it. Here's our setup, tranny jack under the diff. Didn't move. Better go back up with it. So it seems like this cross member is kind of stuck up in there. I think that bushing is stuck on like this locating pin. So it's a matter of just prying it off of there.
It sounds crispy. That rubber is just dried and stuck on.
Got it.
You are the man.
It's limited because the drive shaft's in it.
Yep.
But we're hoping to get it down far enough to get these bolts out here. It's probably good there, Paul.
Not good enough.
All right.
Looks a little naked in there now. This is a cross member and it's way up underneath a fiberglass car. And you'll see evidence of, I can only think that squirrels would bring this in, or mice.
It's a mouse turd right there.
Yeah. But we'll have to blow this all out. That's the stuff that starts to rot. Look at that. Every time that gets into the bottoms of your fenders and in the trunk, it just holds moisture and rusts out. I'm thinking it's got to go back that direction, and they must have these so you bend them over. So we'll straighten them out, then we'll try to knock it back out. We're separating the rubber this time, and the shell remained. So then you gotta cut it, you know, use a chisel and stuff and peel that out of there. Rubber biscuit. So, I don't know if this has to be repaired or what.
Well, this sleeve is going to come out yet.
Okay. We gotta worry about the housing itself. That's rusty. Our new piece might be sloppy. A picking hammer would be better. Jeez. Well, it's not ideal. You can buy a new one for $800, but for right now, we're gonna put this back together so we can get the car running. And we sucked out all the junk on the inside, got rid of the rust, put some grease in here, and now we're gonna stick these in, and we'll put it back together.
Got that piece bolted on. We're gonna put a little grease or something.
Let it slide on and off if we have to take it off again.
We got the spring under there, and I just snugged these up a little bit. I think I'm gonna do the final torque when the weight of the car is on it. I think anything to help flatten out the spring. Plus when these bolts are landed. Just trying to keep the pressure off this casting.
Where is the cotter pinhole? I don't even see it. Right there.
All right, I'm gonna let off on this. Boy, that really flattened out that spring there.
Boy, that wasn't that big of a job.
Now look at the diff though. Hopefully it sits good.
It seemed like it went together too easy. I hope we don't end up with a droopy drawers, you know, or like a gasser. Well, you can see the angle of the dangle on the bolts now. It's gonna definitely clear the rim. We should have rounded this even, and I don't know. But you got these going in there. It might wear these out. I don't know. But if we have to, we'll move that over.
All right, we can extend this box over a little bit and move this hole over. Well, there it is. What do you think, Paul?
You could have gone with taller tires than that.
I probably could have got them 255s on here.
She's firm.
I mean, it moves. It's definitely firm. I think it'll probably settle in by a, inch and a half when you drive around. That's pretty similar to what it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, then that company knew what they were doing, because when we had the two springs up against each other and there was a 4-inch difference, I thought, oh no, I didn't want it riding like this. But it looks good. Everything worked out.
Now that the weight's on these are actually easier to tighten up. I should probably look and see what the torque spec is. You can see the clearance we got now. I mean, I can fit my fingers in there. I would say it's like an inch. I was told you need at least a half an inch there. This side looks just a hair tighter, but I can still get my fingers through there.
These liners were all sticking out. I just stepped on them and I got them to go back in. But I was trying to get them in while I was still on the car. And he goes, just leave them alone. We'll get that straight when we have it apart. He didn't want me wrecking the liners. So then he was gonna buy this new leaf spring, and he was gonna put liners in between it. But they were clamped so good with these things on here right now, and we saw what happened with these. When they don't have those clamps on them, they shifted. We had leaf springs that weren't even in alignment, and you know, you got this, keeps it from going, you know, over further, but they kick out still. So we didn't put the liners on the inside because we didn't want to mess with this. When you clamp them together, that increases your spring pressure too. You'll see that with drag racers. Guys will take leaf springs, and if they do a burnout and the whole thing, you know, hops and the leaf springs separate, you know, if somebody's taking a picture, well, then they just start clamping these. The more you clamp, you know, usually a leaf spring's going this way. If you clamp the front part, it doesn't matter what the back does. The shackles will be doing all the work, but instead of the front end being bouncing like that, you'll stop a lot of that action by using these. If you want to know anything that is just a pain in your butt while you're trying to do your jobs, first of all, hearing one going hissing the air all the time, and then one that you pull the chuck off and it's blowing air out, you got to stick something back in there. I got a couple like that. And I still have, and I got them sitting in the drawer and I haven't changed them out. But he just changed to one. He finally got American-made Milton coupler. And now it's quiet. And the other one, the ball bearings just fell out of it. It's nice and quiet. It's nice.
We'll see how long it lasts.